We are live with you to hear from our Auckland Park studios in Johannesburg. This is Prime News on S3, and tonight the following stories dominate the headlines.
I can honestly not recall asking them about the PKTT as the PKTT.
Advocate Andrea Johnson's claim that she did not know that IDAC was investigating the political killings task team was challenged before the Matlanga Commission.
The Treasury will commence releasing the remaining money withheld in July 2026.
Municipalities will start receiving their withheld July equitable share transfers from the National Treasury starting this coming Friday.
Some officials of the ANC have for the first time taken direct and personal charge of choosing our mayoral candidates.
And the ANC says its mayoral candidates for the 8 metros and secondary cities will be announced in the next 2 weeks. Good evening, it's good to be in your company again. This is your nightly news roundup until we make way for WAFCON coverage in about 30 minutes from now. I am Gustav Freiling, and with me in studio is our sign language interpreter, Fortune Matlanga. Former IDAC head Advocate Andrea Johnson's claim that she did not know that IDAC was investigating the political killings task team was challenged before the Matlanga Commission. This, as an April 2025 subpoena authorised by Johnson showed in item 6 that information was sought on the PKTT. Johnson, however, could not explain why.
Former IDAC head Advocate Andrea Johnson's assertion that she had no knowledge of IDAC investigating the political killings task team was put to the test. This, as evidence shows that Johnson authorised a subpoena in April last year, which also sought information on the PKTT.
I can honestly not recall asking them about the PKTT as the PKTT. I would have asked questions around the applications, wouldn't have asked about the PKTT. The original documentation, file and applications for promotions of the commanders, for me dealt with the issue of the promotions we were dealing with.
It says commanders and members, so it's not limited to commanders. It says commanders and members.
And if I may add, not of SABS, but specifically of PKTT. So you can't divorce that entire inquiry from PKTT.
This is one of the many instances where seemingly allegations in MP Fadil Adams' complaint are allegedly used by IDAC officials to springboard their probe into areas that have nothing to do with the original allegation contained in Adams' affidavit. In this instance, it was former Minister Beitbridge's appointment of Lieutenant General Dumsani Khumalo. And the question is why? What was the motive? Is it allegedly political interference or an alleged hidden hand?
And the best person to answer would be the person who drew up this document and indicate the basis on which he lay for these documents.
No, I don't think that's right. No, that's not right. The best person to answer is the person that authorizes the summons.
The position taken by Johnson raised the question of whether she was throwing her investigators under the bus, a suggestion she rejected. The Commission finally got to the elephant in the room. Were all of these actions by IDAC allegedly a coordinated attack against top cops, Lieutenant General Dumsani Khumalo, Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, and General Fani Masemola? When this was put to Johnson, she said the following.
I think that if we look at the matters in their totality, and we also look now that this one, Commissioners 3527 really bothers me. Then the assertion that, or the conclusion you draw, makes reasonable sense. And whilst it didn't, and in all honesty, at the time, what I said is exactly how it was. And as you look at some of the things that have now come out from parallel statements, etc., there are dots to connect.
The hearings continue. Kenny Mapanga, SABC News, Pretoria.
Municipalities will start receiving their withheld July equitable share transfers from the National Treasury starting this Friday, the 31st of July. Now, this follows a thorough compliance assessment after funds were temporarily frozen due to widespread failure to meet financial management regulations. Addressing the media, Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana announced that 20 municipalities have already received their full shares, while 49 others will receive their outstanding allocations at the end of the week.
The Treasury will commence releasing the remaining money withheld in July 2026 from local government equitable share from the 31st of July. The decision follows the comprehensive assessment process undertaken, including the active monitoring of compliance by the affected municipalities after National Treasury temporarily withheld transfers in terms of Section 216, subsection 2 of the Constitution, right with the applicable provisions of the Municipal Finance Management Act of 2023. The release is therefore not based on a finding of compliance. Rather, National Treasury has decided to release funding on Friday, 31st July 2026, because we have withheld it for close to 30 days, which ends on Monday, the 3rd of August.
The ANC has lauded the work that resulted in turning around the eThekwini municipality in KwaZulu-Natal, led by the mayor, Cyril Kaba. Now, the party's Secretary-General, Fikile Mbalula, says the finances of the municipality are now stable and service delivery is being rolled out. The ANC also said its mayoral candidates for the 8 metros and secondary cities will be announced in the next 2 weeks.
Comrade Fikile.
Treasury has withheld the July equitable share transfers to several municipalities due to bad financial mismanagement. But it will commence releasing the remaining transfers from the 31st of July. The total money to be released will be 7.1 billion rands. ANC Secretary-General Fikile Mbalula says some municipalities have turned the corner in terms of their finances, with the eThekwini municipality being an example of improved financial management.
The clean audit has arisen, and in KwaZulu-Natal alone, Richmond, Msinga and Umvoti earned clean audits for the first time in years, while some 18 municipalities across KwaZulu-Natal, Mpumalanga and the Northwest have climbed out of the West audit categories.
On national matters, the ANC has thrown its weight behind National Assembly Speaker Tokoti Diza, who is facing a motion of no confidence.
The correct and constitutional thing was precisely what she did, not to take a side. To punish a presiding officer for refusing to be partisan, it is to stand the principle on its head.
On migration challenges and marches, the ANC believes the organizers are denting the country's image globally.
And when South Africa stands alone, it will not succeed. We see these patterns for what they are: the urgent provocateur, the cheap mob politics of the ballot chaser, and the poison of ethno-nationalism that will break this country apart.
Samkele Masego, SABC News, Johannesburg.
When we return, the N2 between Kugompo City and Butterworth has been reopened following a deadly collision which claimed 6 lives earlier today. More on this story after the break. Welcome back. The N2 between Kugompo City and Butterworth in the Eastern Cape has been reopened following a deadly collision which claimed 6 lives earlier today. Authorities have not ruled out speeding as a possible cause of the accident. The crash resulted in one driver, believed to be a schoolteacher, being burnt beyond recognition.
The accident involving 2 vehicles on the N2 near Moy Plus in the Eastern Cape claimed the lives of 5 females and 1 male. One of the females involved in the crash died upon arrival at the hospital after succumbing to her injuries. Circumstances surrounding the incident form part of an investigation by the authorities.
Look, it's a combination of factors, and speed from the Fiesta. You can tell that it was at very high velocity, the impact. And of course, the weather conditions. I mean, it's wet, slippery with poor visibility. You can't rule that out as a contributing factor. But we suspect that issues of driver behavior were not aligned to the weather conditions, which resulted into this crash. Look, it's a combination of factors, and speed from the Fiesta. You can tell that it was at very high velocity, the impact. And of course, the weather conditions. I mean, it's wet, slippery with poor visibility. You can't rule that out as a contributing factor, but we suspect that issues of driver behavior were not aligned to the weather conditions, which resulted into this crash.
The incident comes amid a warning from the Provincial Transport Department for motorists to exercise extreme caution due to adverse weather conditions. Police have since opened inquest dockets for each of the deceased individuals. Abungile Yankees, SABC News, Moy Plus.
Outgoing Sanral CEO Reginald Demana has defended the agency's procurement decisions, insisting he had no authority to award or extend tenders. Demana was addressing the media amid ongoing scrutiny over irregular procurement processes that have seen several multi-billion rand tenders set aside by the courts.
Demana says Sanral accepts responsibility for procurement lapses that resulted in the court setting aside its road maintenance and engineering consultant panels. However, he insists decisions on tender awards and contract extensions rest with the board and procurement committees, not the CEO.
Ultimately, the board approves contract extensions and all of that, deviations, if you like, procurement by other means. And these things, in the case of routine road maintenance, because it is something widely mentioned, they are done solely for the reason of maintaining the roads.
Demana says the agency has since abandoned the panel procurement model and will issue new road maintenance tenders in phases. He also confirmed that investigations into procurement-related conduct are continuing, while Sanral is cooperating with law enforcement authority.
Issues of the hawks and prima facie fraud, we are not aware of it. We are only aware of the hawks asking us for information pertaining not to every RRM contract, but certain names that they said they wanted those documents.
Demana, who is serving a month's notice at Sanral, says he rejects allegations made of wrongdoing against him. He says his resignation is unrelated to procurement controversies and that he is leaving to pursue another opportunity within the state sector. Offense Estimo, SABC News, Centurion.
Welcome back. Truckers at the Beitbridge border post in Musina in Limpopo are facing severe delays due to massive traffic congestion, forcing them to remain awake for days. Some drivers report waiting in queues since Sunday, with limited parking and slow processing procedures on the Zimbabwean side, cited as the main causes of this gridlock.
Some truckers say the current commercial traffic backlog at the Beitbridge border post is something they've never seen before. Others say they've only moved just 7 kilometers since Sunday. They insist they have to rely on energy drinks to stay awake and keep up with the slow movement of the queue.
We are buying from vendors. It's very expensive. We have got no option because even though we have got gas stoves, but we can't cook because we have no water. So it's so frustrating, plus we are not sleeping.
We are expecting the queue to move, but it's not moving. You know, since morning we just moved a little bit. I think about 2 trucks or 3 trucks. We don't know what is really happening there in front, or we don't know what the problem is, because the rumors are saying it's the SA side, some are saying it's the SIM side, so we don't really know what's happening.
Vendors who sell food and drinks near the Beitbridge border post say they'd hoped to make a good profit as they expected truckers to buy from them.
Many people are stuck. Don't have money. Some are afraid to buy.
The trucks are many, but it's not having any effect on our business. They are not buying our food as we expected. Meanwhile, truck drivers have called on the Zimbabwean government to find solutions to the problem. Ruth and Bobori, SABC News in Musina.
South Africa and Nigeria are seeking to ease growing diplomatic tensions following recent protests targeting undocumented foreign nationals in parts of South Africa. International Relations Minister Ronald Lamola, acting as President Cyril Ramaphosa's special envoy, travelled to Abuja for high-level talks with a delegation appointed by the Nigerian President Bola Tinubu to address concerns over migration, crime and the safety of foreign nationals.
The minister met with a very high-level delegation designated by President Tinubu to meet with us. And it was quite fortunate that we met at that level because we were able to really have a robust discussion with our Nigerian counterparts. And part of the engagement focused on how we see the origins of the current protest that has taken place in South Africa around immigrants. And we highlighted the fact that the incident in Kukompo really did set out to really light a match around issues that have been long lingering amongst the citizens of South Africa, particularly when it pertains to the conduct of some, not all, Nigerian nationals. And this was an important discussion to have at that level. And the Nigerian counterparts understood this. You would recall that, in fact, the acting high commissioner at the time, at the Kukompo incident, did really move fast to apologize and to de-escalate the matter.
Springbok coach Rassie Erasmus wants his players to focus on Argentina in 2 weeks' time before attention inevitably turns to rugby's greatest rivalry against New Zealand. Erasmus will announce his touring squad for Argentina for a once-off test on Saturday morning and has all players but 2 fit and available to make the journey to Buenos Aires.
The Boks are gearing up for a busy run of 6 test matches in the next 2 months. But Erasmus wants Argentina to be taken seriously and then only can focus turn to the 4 test match series against the All Blacks.
It's only Ox and Franco Mostert that is not available for next week's game. Apart from that, everybody, Ethan Kane and Sasha, Eben Lewitt, who else? Mornay, everybody's ready. So, it wouldn't be ideal, but our first thing is want to beat Argentina.
Erasmus is playing his cards close to his chest ahead of the arrival of New Zealand.
To be honest, we didn't watch a lot of Super Rugby, but it sounds like everybody's really excited about the squad, and obviously the way they played in the first 3 games is really impressive.
It's highly unlikely that Erasmus has not paid attention to Super Rugby, given that this is the groundbreaking coach who is famous for preparing for every eventuality.
I really don't think you want to say from game 1 we are so ready that I think you want to build and build so that when it comes to the crunch matches, I don't think any of us think the other team is going to beat the other team 4-0. I think it's going to be much tougher than that.
Erasmus is clearly relishing preparing his box over 4 test matches against New Zealand. But first, there is the small matter of Argentina. Simon Burke, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Right, before we go, it's time to join Paul at the weather desk to check up on the warnings for wet and cold conditions in many regions. Here's tomorrow's forecast.
Thank
Thank you very much and a very warm welcome to the weather desk. Time for us to look at those conditions over the country. Now we do have that cut-off low that's sitting over that interior of the Northern Cape, still causing all these heavy conditions that we see in most of the country, talking widespread showers and thunder showers over the Eastern Cape, stretching into that interior as we move towards KwaZulu-Natal, and also some snowfalls over the high-lying areas for tonight and also for tomorrow. The snowfall still expected because of that effect of that cut-off low, and also we're still expecting scattered showers and rain as we move towards the coast over the Eastern Cape and also over KwaZulu-Natal. Isolated for tomorrow over Gauteng, stretching towards parts of Limpopo, though Limpopo over that Limpopo Valley is just drizzle for tomorrow, but over the interior of Mpumalanga, that those isolated showers and thunder showers for tomorrow. Looking at our warnings for tonight, let's start off talking about the windy conditions that we can expect as we move towards the coast over Cape Town. We're talking wind speed of up to 50 kilometers per hour, can gust up to 55 kilometers per hour, and also we're expecting up to level 6 warning of disturbed rain as we move towards the coast. Moving to that interior, it is a level 5 warning of disturbed snowfalls as we move to those areas, meaning passes will be closed. So please, let's be careful over those areas. That temperatures will be dropping significantly. Also for tomorrow, that level 5 warning of snowfalls is still expected over the high-lying areas. We're talking Malitswa, stretching into parts of Lesotho and also KwaZulu-Natal. And also as we move towards the coast, it is still a level 6 warning of disrupted rainfall, which will lead to flooding over those areas. So please, let's be careful. Temperatures for tomorrow, it is going to be a relatively chilly night for tomorrow morning. We're talking 8 over Johannesburg, 11 over Musina, 14 as we move towards Richards Bay. Cape Town will be dropping down to 9. For tomorrow, it is a relatively cool day over most of the country, especially as we move towards the mother city. We're expecting a high of 20. 16 over Sanral, freezing for tonight over Sanral, but tomorrow should be cool. Cool conditions also expected over Johannesburg with a high of 17, 22 over Musina. Durban also expecting a cool day with those rainy conditions with that level 6 warning of disturbed rainfall for tomorrow. Durban peaking at 18. That's all the weather I have for you. Stay tuned.
And that's tonight's Prime News. Thank you so much for joining us. We are now going to hand over to our SABC Sport colleagues for tonight's WAFCON coverage next here on S3. From myself and my colleague Fortune, good night.